Hey everyone, it is Evan here from the Trade Risk on Wednesday, October 2nd. We are intraday right now, and this is our weekly trade ideas video where we bring you some of the names from our watch list, stocks that are holding up well, showing some relative strength, and ideally are not yet too extended in their moves. Not too much of a concern in this market environment for that last bit. But these videos, as always, are powered by our partners over at Investors Business Daily, curating ideas based on their stock lists. You can get access to their stock lists with a link in the description of this video. So we did our market recap video yesterday on the broad indices and just kind of the state of the market. And one of the things we sort of talked about was the importance of this 2940 to 2950 zone. We closed right into it yesterday. We were looking for an immediate save here by the bulls to keep us holding up and to prevent us from falling back into this August range. And of course, we can see what happened here today with this gap down. And so far, we've just been dropping like a rock back into the August range here. There's a small bounce attempt sort of going on right now as I'm recording this. But right now, as we sort of look at the picture here, we're getting this technical breakdown back into this old volatile range from August, and this here is very bearish in the short term for the market. This type of move, this quick 2-day move, can easily see some type of dead cat bounce, but getting back over 2940, 2950, that's going to be important, and that sort of sets the tone now for the first idea here. And if we are in a regime change, if we are to stick in sort of a new kind of downtrend or a volatile market, just period, whether or not it's sideways or has direction, then we can be looking for to sort of measure this bounce. If we do start to kind of meander back up here and kind of come back to this resistance to test it, former support, now potentially resistance here as it was back in August, that's where we could start to look for some of those short ideas, looking at what's not holding up, what's not bouncing, what's kind of sluggishly or reluctantly moving up. If we do get this move back up, that's the next sort of wave there, and good initiation spot for new shorts. Right here, right now, initiating a new short is definitely aggressive, at least in the way I'm viewing it. We may very well have a quick trip back down to the lower end of this range, so maybe 28.30 is in the cards, and frankly, we could be there in 1 or 2 days if this volatility and if this selling continues at this rate. So that is a possibility that we do have a much bigger stretch down here in short term. But just looking for better risk reward, I would rather see some type of bounce or at least an inside day or something sideways to then put a better spot to manage risk against and potentially roll back over. Now, I don't short individual stocks, so you won't see any short individual names on these videos. But what, like I say, I would look for is shorting the indices or shorting the weakest sectors on this potential bounce, and hopefully we'll get there with some more ideas when that actually happens. So in the short term, that's what I'd be looking at as some potential short exposure. But again, if you're trying to do it right now, it could work. Follow your strategy, of course, but seems a little bit late to jump on that bandwagon. Now, on the long side, if we look here at a couple of ideas, first from IBD's list, LULU is one that is holding up quite well. Take a look here at just the relative strength that this is showing. You can see that it is just a nudge off of these prior all-time highs it just made. It's still holding up in this trend. There's really no technical damage whatsoever, just a brief consolidation. So here is an idea where, again, today may not be the day you want to be initiating, but it's something to build a watch list with. And LULU here is acting strong. It's been a leader this year, and it continues to do so. Number 2 here would be TPX. This also comes from IBD's list, and there's a few names that look something like this. And this is kind of the opposite here, where we're on the lower end of a range, and we're trying to hold on. Take a look at today's candle, where it looked like it was going to break and just totally kind of wash out under under this range, but you can see here that it is attempting to sort of get back up to this support area and potentially hold. So maybe a classic sort of stop run there or a little false breakdown. Keep an eye on this. There's a few more names that have this type of look where it is on a vulnerable breakdown side. So you do want to be cautious. You need to be, nimble and have stop losses in place. But something like this where it could be a head fake and could be a move for, a move back up into this range. Something to consider here. TPX is a good example. That was from IBD's list. This name here, OKTA, this one here comes from our watch list. And this is something where it's just notable that this, of course, started its slide maybe a little bit early. But take a look at this past 3 days of action here, particularly the past 2 days, today and yesterday, where the market really started to leg down pretty aggressively. And in fact, of course, as we just saw, broke some significant level today. This year, it just really hasn't budged. It didn't break down. It didn't make new lows. In fact, it's holding up here. It is still arguably in this downtrend, but this level here around $100, which was support back in April and May, looks like it's trying to hold on. So OKTA, very similar to TPX, this is kind of a support play, a bounce play. This is something that I think is interesting here as it didn't break down with the market and does have that potential to kind of hang on here and bounce. So that's it. That's what we got. We got 3 names there on the long side this week, and then just the idea on the short trade for the S&P 500 or for a weak market or a weak individual sector, like perhaps financials or semis or energy. As the market, or if the market can bounce here, let's pay attention to what sectors kind of lag that bounce and look sluggish and potentially look to reinitiate there on a second leg down, maybe to the lower end of this range, if we believe that's going to happen. If we just see a strong volume pop and we totally reclaim and push right back into that 2950 area, then I would be much more neutral there and maybe more reluctant to reinitiate or initiate any short trades. So that's what we got. Every Wednesday, trade ideas just like this. Stay safe out there. It is a volatile environment and it is transitioning quickly here, but you can subscribe on our YouTube channel. Follow us on the Trade Risk. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on Friday for the weekend market recap.